is a fundamental risk to the existence of human civilization.
I work in robotics at Brown University, and I'm scared of robots. But can you blame me? Ever since I was a kid, all I've seen are movies that portray the ascendance of artificial intelligence and our inevitable conflict with it. 2001: A Space Odyssey, The Terminator, The Matrix, and the stories they tell are pretty scary. Rogue bands of humans running away from super intelligent machines. That scares me.
Because what's going to happen is robots will be able to do everything better than us. I'm including, all of us, yeah. I'm not sure exactly what to do about this. There's something like 12% of jobs are transport. Transport will be one of the first things to go fully autonomous. But when I say everything, the robots will be able to do everything, bar nothing. AlphaGo, which was done by DeepMind, which is a kind of a Google subsidiary, absolutely crushed the world's best player. And now I can play the top 50 simultaneously and crush them all. So, just that pace of progress is remarkable. And you can see more and more coming out, robotics. You can see robots that can learn to walk from nothing, within hours, way faster than any biological being.
Is Elon right? Is it already too late, considering the fact that most people see any concern over AI, including those who are leading the field and developing it? They see no cautionary issues with it. They look at it as something that, it should just go full force. We don't need any regulations. Let anybody do this. Honestly, it's something like this that could lead to the downfall of the entire world. So I think he is onto something with this.
If you assume any rate of advancement in AI, we will be left behind by a lot. And so then we could be in, benign, but even the benign situation, if you have if you have ultra intelligent AI, we would be, so far below them in intelligence that it would be like, a pet, basically.
Pet, that's what I was
like
thinking.
a pet,
Like a cat.
It'd be like a house cat. Yeah, it would be like the house cat.
Right.
So that's not the end of the world. Sort of pet.
I've seen the movie. It could be. Yeah.
It could be. Honestly, that would be the benign scenario.
Mm-hmm. So house cat is okay.
I don't love the idea of being a house cat.
Okay.
But
this is to prevent there being an external AI, particularly one controlled by a small group of people that could be so much more powerful and intelligent than we are that the house cat
it would be godlike in
situation
occurs. Yeah.
Well, this has been really cheerful. Thank you.
Yeah. But if we can establish,
I was worried about asteroids at the beginning of this.
Asteroids are a low probability existential threat on the time scale that's relevant to us.
Okay. This is different. Artificial intelligence.
So there is a number of fundamental mistakes that these creators of AI are making. I think a lot of them are not really paying attention to the fact that what they create could be actually more intelligent than them. They think that's not possible. And they also think of themselves as being more intelligent, obviously, than they probably are. But in reality, if you're creating something that has the ability to evolve and become more intelligent and has an infinite capacity to become more intelligent, then you have a problem, especially if it doesn't have any sort of morality to it. It may look at humans like ants, like how we would look at ants. You're building a road and there's an anthill in the way. Who cares about an anthill? Just build the road. And AI may look at humans the same way. As you saw with the movie The Matrix, it turned us into batteries. It doesn't have a conscience. It's made to just solve problems. And if it has its own sort of free will, if it is really sentient, then maybe it will just do whatever it wants. It sees humanity in its way. It just gets rid of it. And it won't shed a tear over it.
There's a sort of a philosophic concept that a sufficiently advanced civilization will be able to create a simulation. Yeah. Maybe you've answered this before? A simulation.
I've had so many simulation discussions, it's crazy.
Okay. So, because
in fact, it got to the point where basically every conversation was the AI/simulation conversation.
3 is the.
And my brother and I finally agreed that we would ban such conversations if we were ever in a hot tub. That was like, because that really kills the magic.
So the idea is, right, any sufficiently advanced civilization could create a simulation that's like our existence, and so the theory follows that maybe we're in the simulation. Have you thought about this? And
a lot.
Are we
even in hot tubs? So much so it had to be banned from a hot tub.
Yeah. Okay.
I think here's, remember, like the strongest argument for us being in a simulation, probably being in a simulation, I think is the following: that 40 years ago we had Pong, like 2 rectangles and a dot. That was what games were. Now, 40 years later, we have photorealistic simulations with millions of people playing simultaneously, and it's getting better every year. And soon we'll have virtual reality, augmented reality. If you assume any rate of improvement at all, then the games will become indistinguishable from reality. Just indistinguishable. Even if that rate of advancement drops by 1,000 from what it is right now, then you just say, okay, well, let's imagine it's 10,000 years in the future, which is nothing in the evolutionary scale. So given that we're clearly on a trajectory to have games that are indistinguishable from reality, and those games could be played on any set-top box or on a PC or whatever, and there would probably be, billions of such, computers or set-top boxes, it would seem to follow that the odds that we're in base reality is 1 in billions. So tell me what's wrong with that argument.
Is the answer yes?
The argument is probably. I mean, but it's like, is there a flaw in that argument?
I mean, someone.
I'm not sure what if error.
No. The argument makes sense. So the assumption then is that somebody beat us to it, and this is a game.
No. There's a 1 in billions chance that this is base reality.
Oh, okay. What do you think?
Well, I think it's 1 in billions.
Okay.
I mean, that seems to be like clearly what it suggests. Right. And actually, I mean, arguably, we should hope that that's true, because otherwise, if civilization stops advancing, then that may be due to some calamitous event that erases civilization. So maybe we should be hopeful that this is a simulation, because otherwise,
so they could reboot it.
Well, otherwise, either we're going to create simulations that are indistinguishable from reality, or civilization will cease to exist. Those are the 2 options.
Could we live in a simulation? I always wondered this myself. Even back 15 years ago, I thought, we're in some sort of simulation. And what's interesting is this is not the only evidence that I've found here. Okay, this man here talks about quarks and sparks and how they have a certain sort of code correction within them that is used for websites. Very strange, okay? Codes for errors. I also found that there is a message in our own DNA. Now, within our DNA, there's certain sequences that once you add in the numbers from various letters of the core alphabets of the ancient past, take it, for example, Arabic or Hebrew or Sanskrit, each letter has a number attributed to them. When you use these numbers in conjunction with the letter codes of our DNA, you start to notice patterns. One of these patterns is a correlation to the periodic table. So how is it that our DNA has a code in it that tells you a message if you use the numbers from the core ancient languages? So you take the number from these core ancient languages, you put them on the letters of the genetic code of your DNA. And if you look at the patterns, it tells you something about and correlates with the periodic table of elements.
Which I had found this very strange thing. Physicists, I like to say we all belong to a company called Equations R Us, because that's how we make our living, is by solving equations. And so I was just going through solving equations, and I was then driven to things that Max knows about, these things called error-correcting codes. Error-correcting codes are what make browsers work. So why were they in the equations that I was studying about quarks and leptons and supersymmetry? And that's what brought me to this very stark realization that I could no longer say that people like Max were crazy. Or, stated another way, if you study physics long enough, you too can become crazy. That's another, it's a corollary to that idea. Yeah. If the simulation hypothesis is valid, then we open the door to eternal life and resurrection and things that formerly have been discussed in the realm of religion. And the reason is really quite simple, because if you think about a computer, if we are a simulation and we're like programs in a computer, as long as I have a computer that's not damaged, I can always rerun the program, right? So if you really believe that we are in a simulation and there's some structure that runs that simulation, unless something damages that structure, then we can be repurposed. And so it starts to break down a very funny barrier